Hello, I'm John Winkler, aka Wink, from Air Ohio Skydiving Center and Down to Earth Rigging. Today's lesson is going to be how to make a Cypres loop and make it the right length the first time, every time. So let's get started. Okay, when making the loop, we're going to make our own loop from raw material. The pre-lubed loops don't work as well, so we want to start out making our own loop. And notice that this side that we're going to call the outer sheath is longer than this side that we call the inner core. Reason being, when we finger trap the inner core into the outer sheath is going to shrink and get larger in diameter. We need a single layer at this end when we're finished so that it is easier to thread through the Cypres loop. When we go to thread it through the loop or through the Cypres washer, if it's double thickness, it's not going to go through these holes very easy. Next thing we do after we have our loop made is we're going to take a measurement. Now let's say we're going to make a loop that is 4 inches long. And this will work regardless of what loop length you want. We're going to add 1/4 inch to that measurement. So this loop I'm going to make 1/4 inch longer, which will be a total of 4 1/4. I'm going to mark the 4 1/4 spot. Once that spot is marked, we thread it down through the washer, through the center hole, back up through the side hole, and then down through the side hole. And we end up with a configuration like this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pull-up cord through the loop. This is just so that we don't pull the loop through the center hole while we're working on it. Makes a kind of a stopper. And I'm going to pull that loop right down against the washer, just so I have a lot of slack to work with. There's my mark. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie that first double overhand knot and I'm going to tie it so that that black mark is at the very edge of that knot, and it's on the washer side of the knot. And I'm going to pull it really tight by hand. Now you can see right there that that knot is right up against that black mark. Then of course we tie the second single overhand knot. And pull it tight. Now while I'm pulling this tight, I want to explain that when you use this method, let's say that you find that you're consistently coming up a 1/16 or an 1/8 inch short, well then just add a 1/16 or an 1/8 inch to that measurement. So instead of using 4 1/4, use 4 5/16 or 4 3/8. Your mileage may vary. But once you figure out your measurement, A 1/4 inch works for me, and it works every time. Start out with a 1/4 inch and go from there. Once you find out your own personal measurement, use that. Okay, now there's our knot with the black mark. Going to pull the knot up against the washer. There we have it. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to put a washer over this, so the washer will end up against the washer, or the Cypres washer. Okay, the washer will have a beveled edge on one side of the center hole and a sharp edge on the other side of the center hole. You need to put the beveled edge against the Cypres washer. If you don't, the sharp edge can cut your loop, and then you have to start all over, and that ruins your day. So we're going to flip this over. And now what we're going to do is pull this tight. The reason we need the washer is so that it locks up against this closing plate. And this is the quick as a wink 4-inch closing plate that you can acquire from Paragear or down-to-earthrigging.com. We're also going to use a quick as a wink leverage tool with a 3/8 drive for ratchet. Again, you can get those from Paragear or Down to Earth Rigging. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this tight. And what I'm doing, first I'm pulling the weave of the Cypres loop material tight. And I'm tightening up the knot. And the knot, as it tightens up, slips some. And this will take some practice. You have to go by feel, and you can feel, what I'm doing is I'm leaning my weight on the ratchet, and I can feel that the ratchet is still moving a little bit as the knot is tightening up, and at some point it's going to stop moving. I'm going to have to back ratchet here. Still moving a little, still moving a little. There, it has stopped. Take it all apart. And we measure. This should come out at 4 inches. Right, put the washer up against the end of the ruler. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Exactly 4 inches. And that's all there is to it. So practice, practice, practice. Make adjustments that you need to make for your own personal results, and good rigging.